This is a guy that goes by My Lunch Break. He's got 100,000 subbies on YouTube, apparently. He's this conspiracy theorist that believes the craziest stuff. Oh my God. He thinks that he's in this documentary, quote unquote, called Old World Order, and it's about the idea that the buildings that exist in society today were built by a previous civilization that was more advanced, and that we are incapable of building things as well as they did, or like, and we just stole their build. Like, I don't even know what the point of this conspiracy is, but My Lunch Break, 100,000 subbies. Okay. Dude has kind of gathered 100,000 people together to back him on this crazy conspiracy theory and made a documentary and everything. This is, this video, this documentary, quote unquote, has 250,000 views on it on Rumble. Like, holy Christ on a cracker, these people. They got like a bunch of different people to pretend to be experts and stuff. Well, let's give this a listen. This is not part one. If you didn't see the other, don't sweat it. This stands independently of the rest. I'll give context if it's missing. While we listen to this ridiculous nonsense, we're going to play some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, just kind of going around doing whatever. Should be in the background. Won't bother you too much. You never played before.
As an architect, and some
Oh, this guy's an architect, and he can tell you that they are lying, whoever they is.
somebody who's been building my entire life, designing houses and buildings for 20 years or so. The time frames that they allow for just the planning, the idea that that could just be planned out in 2 years begs credulity.
They had these
Begs credulity, okay? It begs belief? That's what he just said. That's what that's what it meant when he said that just now. It begs belief, all right?
ornate buildings with all kind of moving sidewalks and crazy.
Please let me credule, I'm begging you.
Be planned out in 2 years begs credulity.
They had these ornate buildings with all kind of moving sidewalks and crazy technology. They had ill things with so many lights, electricity, when electricity was supposed to be a new thing and all of that. They had shit that was like something out of a dream.
I know, it's so crazy. Like, the moment that the internet was born, you know, it's created in 1989. And then by 1995, we had web browsers. Can you imagine this shit? It's crazy.
Bro.
Well, this is the exposition
Crazy, bro.
thing. We're fully electrified. You know, some of these examples, they're electrified before electric was a thing. You know, the first electrified city was supposed to be Buffalo. First electrified building was supposed to be JP Morgan's in New York, all attributed to Edison. But these things, you know, some of them 1890s, fully electric, and it would have been free energy. They didn't have
No honking way.
massive plants to generate electricity.
The first one in America was in 1876, and that was the Centennial World's Fair in Philadelphia. The one in 1901 in Buffalo was a major one. The 1904 in St. Louis was Louisiana Purchase, and then the Lewis and Clark was in Portland the following year. If you define the word exposition, it's telling a story. It's setting the stage, the narration.
Okay, so I don't like what point you getting to here?
So these World's Fairs were used as, this is the narrative that we want people.
You know what? I'm sorry. I should be using gender neutral pronouns here. What point are they getting to here?
It's setting the stage, the narration. So these World's Fairs were used as, this is the narrative that we want people to believe and go home with.
Okay, so they're saying that the World's Fair is where people like lied to others to try to convince them that all this stuff was real, rather than the World's Fair is a showing of human accomplishment. No, it can't be that. It has to be like where people are like lied to. Okay.
The World Fairs served to get people with the new program. They said, trains, incubator babies, this is the new norm. Fast forwarding people into the modern industrial age.
Heckers, this is a really hard battle, for real. God, I'm getting like messed up over here. Holy Christ, dude, I'm getting messed up. Leave me alone.
Everyone's wearing the same beaver hats. Everyone's wearing the same three-piece suit.
Beaver hats?
You know, it seemed like individuality had ceased to exist. The World's Fairs served the purpose of indoctrinating.
The World Columbian Exposition was one of the most superb. In Chicago, Illinois, formerly known as Chilaga, had some of the most beautiful stone masonry in the world. The area was nicknamed the White City, as each building was strategically painted bright white in an attempt to hide the inevitable aging of the structural entity. The mainstream narrative would lead you to believe that these megastructures were designed by the most educated and experienced architects. Right?
The architect, he didn't have any formal training.
What on earth would give you that idea?
Isn't that what the website said, right?
Your website.
Your website said that the architect of this building has no formal training.
That's,
Here.
I find that implausible.
This is your website.
We all do. That's why.
That's my problem. I'm not sure if there were even any schools of architecture back then.
How did they know how to do this?
I have no idea who this is or what they're talking about or whatever. Like, I am so lost, it's not even funny. Well, it's kind of funny, I guess. Quick interjection. This won't take long, I promise. I just want to say I'd appreciate it if you check my Patreon. OwenMorgan.com/Patreon to find it. YouTube's algorithm goes up and down, so I can never predict where it's going to be. Having patrons gives me some level of stability. Okay, back to the video.
That's what we're asking. This is not built for dinosaurs, the Field Museum. It was built for something else. It's not to show off the fake dinosaur bones. It was for
Again, like, who is this person wearing this? Wait.
do this stuff. That's what we're asking. This is not built for dinosaurs, the Field Museum. It was built for something else. It's not to show off.
Again, like, who is this guy with a "My Lunch Break" t-shirt on and what appears to be a little YouTube play button? And why should I trust him?
Off the fake dinosaur bones. It was for something else. When you walk inside,
Fake dinosaur bones.
you can see the doors are much bigger than the size we are. It's nothing like we build today.
The museum
So what about the doors that are the size of human beings? What then? And what about, like, the interior of the building? It's not big enough to house very many large people, is it?
of Science and Industry, which was the arts building, the fine arts building. And they make the argument that that was a temporary building like all the others. And the public liked it so much that they rallied to save it. So what they did is they went and rebuilt it out of granite and marble and copper and all the permanent materials that we see now. I think these are children's stories that they give us. I don't understand at all how serious-minded people can accept the story that says this building was built exactly as we see it now, but with temporary materials. And then because we liked it, it got rebuilt out of granite and marble and copper and glass. To me, that defies explanation and is much more of a fanciful tale than the idea that the building was already there and was repurposed for a fair.
This one connects to the Shed Aquarium, I guarantee it, and it connects to a lot more buildings around this area. And it's not just here, it's in every single city in the world.
You know we on top of water.
Every single city in the world.
We're on water.
We on water. So we on top of water. You go in the basement, you will hit the water, hit the wall, and then sometimes when it rains, because the sewer be flooded sometimes, the water come in the basement, flood the whole basement.
Okay, so there's water under the ground. Yeah, that's how things work. We're also on aquifers, underground rivers that, like, you know, you can't really see, but they're down there. That's where we get a lot of our water in cities. We pull from underground aquifers.
Oh my God.
Thoughts on
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Before we leave it, press him on that. What do you got on that?
Okay, so
And I don't know, like, what they're proving here or what they think they've did, like, the own that they've just gotten, but, like, I wouldn't take it from just some random security guard. They're using this as some kind of proof.
there's massive tunnel systems throughout all of these buildings everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So you're telling us right now that there's tunnels. Basically, there's a basement here. This building is much bigger than we can see on the
Yeah, it's a
ground surface.
it's a basement. It's a basement here. When the war you hit, when you go in the basement, we do rounds. What we call our rounds called the ground level, and then we got upper level. So when we go downstairs
Like, he's just describing a building. Yes, that's how buildings work.
to certain hallways, you will hear water hitting the walls.
Wow. You have seen the tunnel systems underneath these buildings?
According to the information gathered from my grandfather who got here in Chicago in 1969, well, before that, as far as for what we have here from museum we're in now, from the Field Museum to the Shed Aquarium to Soldier Field, there are the pathways underneath that are all connected.
I don't know what point are they proving here? Am I missing something? Am I the idiot? I don't get it. They're using this as like some kind of a W, and I'm like struggling to understand what the point is here.
It's like if you go to McCormick Place, if you go, they got the little tunnels over there too, because they be flooding over there too.
Really?
Yeah.
It's connected, you think?
Yeah. So this whole campus, the whole campus is connected. And we guess tunnels. I was told there's tunnels, you know what I'm saying? It's like the tunnels along the lake that you can go down in, and then it leads you into like a little path. But you know, I heard that from somebody that he was working for 43 years.
Really?
Been here for
Yeah, I mean, there's some crazy stuff under buildings, right? I mean, I've heard rumors that there are alligators and Ninja Turtles in the subway tunnels and the sewers of New York City. And since the rumor exists, it's 100% for sure true. Ninja Turtles, guys.
43 years. He been here for 43 years. He retired, I want to say, like last week sometime.
Have you ever been in them?
No, sir. They won't allow access to the public.
Okay.
And then they only allow access to very, very few of their actual workers here.
So you think that?
You think maybe that could be because they're dangerous, because they haven't been like maintained in a while? Is that possible, you think?
The dirt in that picture downstairs, you think the dirt is actually there and we put it there to cover up this building to make it look like it's not as big as it really is?
Oh my God, dude. I cannot stand it when this thing snags me. It's so annoying.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's good. I feel like we did, though.
Sorry, step back. Listen again.
There, and we put it there to cover up this building to make it look like it's not as big as it really is?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's good.
No, it's not a good one. It's dumb as dog shit. It's all dumb as dog shit.
I feel like we did, though. I feel like he made the picture to fake like. I feel like the building was here already.
What do you tell your child when you're coming to a new location and they're asking you questions and you have no answers? You will start to create so that way you have a way to answer those questions, or your child will grow up with no answers and forever seeking. So
Now we're here to give answers.
there you go.
When they say
God, this is so confusing. It's like they're just saying things in a confident way to like convince people that they're 100% correct when they're not at all, and they're not proving anything to anybody.
that these buildings were temporary, what they're basically suggesting is that it's a full-scale model that is going to be occupied by thousands and hundreds of thousands of people that are coming in and out of these fairs, where they're going to hold together through brutal winters, through hurricanes, through potential earthquakes, with hundreds and thousands of people occupying these spaces. The liability on that alone would have shut
Wait, hundreds and thousands, or hundreds of thousands?
through hurricanes, through potential earthquakes, with hundreds and thousands of people
Hundreds and thousands.
occupying these spaces. The liability on that alone would have shut the whole endeavor down from the beginning. It wouldn't have been permitted. It's not the kind of thing that's permissible when you're talking about the building trades, when you're talking about a public facility where you're going to be bringing so many people.
Now, this takes a huge infrastructure, and it takes a huge amount of people to do something like this. When you see these ridiculous construction photos where it's like popsicle sticks, clear manipulation.
All right, so right here.
Popsicle sticks, like building stuff out of popsicle sticks as a model, is clear manipulation? Really? Okay.
Here you can see they're doing.
I thought it was just like learning architecture in school, but all right, that works. Clear manipulation, sure.
They just put the scaffolding up, just like they've done in the past in the original pictures of the construction. Yeah, and they're doing it right now. How hard would it be to just make it black and white and then make it look like they're doing some construction right now? NASA's not the only company to fake a photo, guys.
Oh my God.
With a lot of these old, glorious buildings, regardless of where they are, you'll find supposed, alleged construction photos. Now, many of these will show simply scaffolding around an already constructed building. If you take an old cathedral and put scaffolding around it, and you're the first person ever to have that cathedral photographed, well, you are ripe to make a case for yourself that You may have built that to begin with, whereas you might have just been renovating that cathedral, repainting it, fixing it, old primitive photo manipulation techniques.
Wooden sidewalks and mud roads.
I honestly still like, I know that they said that we just stole this stuff from previous generations, but I'm still kind of at a loss for what their point is here. Like, they keep adding new claims to this, and I don't understand. Like, I get that, you know, we see older buildings and older buildings seem like more ornate than modern ones. Okay, so we stole this stuff. But what's the point of like making them way bigger than they're supposed to be? Or like, what's their claim about they're bigger than they should be? I'm just like so lost.
You have to be able to bring all the stone and brick and glass and copper and all the component parts. You have to be able to bring that to the site. And so just the roads alone, like you can
Building hard. That's my proof right there. Building difficult.
Scratch and sniff any aspect of this and the story starts to crumble. But if you're printing these in books or you're presenting them like on maybe a TV documentary, let's say, and it's just an image that's going to come and go, and 99.9 percent of people looking at them are not even going to scratch their head. They're going to just say, well, there it is. There's the construction photo, and I don't need anything else, because why would I question that? That's absurd.
Also, you'll find good old-fashioned cut and pasted, you know, someone with an X-Acto knife out in a early primitive dark room slapping together photos that actually don't belong together to begin with.
This technology of its day was a sure way to make multiple images and combine them into one. There was no way the rewriters wouldn't need this for faking construction pictures. And no, it's not
faking construction pictures.
Not Photoshop, but the layering process is very similar. Victorian photography manipulation, using pencil markings and scraping techniques to draw, erase, and touch up any image desired. The easiest way to achieve your goals is to have a white background that you can remove later in the darkroom. Not uncommon for others to create tricks.
So green screen effects existed back in like I don't know, when photographs were young. And that's proof that everything was a lie.
Photography and show off their masking and etching skills. For back then, this was the cutting edge of the start of this fraudulent society they've built.
They take an already completed building and they whitewash the skies. They call it vanilla skies.
They'll blotch out the sky.
They call it vanilla skies, so they will blotch out the skies. Right, okay. Oh my God, dude. I cannot stand it when this guy grabs me. It's so annoying.
And cut away from what they want to leave in the photo. They can cut away what was there and replace it with a gray or white vanilla colored sky.
Vanilla sky, where the background is cut out and you can see the crop marks. You can zoom in and see where the edge of the building there's a little bit of a blurry edge. The sky that would have been the background has been disappeared. It's like, well, why would they do that? If you
They. It's all they. They are out to get me. These people live in a paranoid fantasy. It's insane. Like, I don't know that I've seen anything so intense in a while, as far as like conspiracy theories go. This is intensely conspiratorial.
see one construction photo that's off, where they've painted in scaffolding, or
they painted in scaffolding. Why would anybody paint in scaffolding when they could just build it with scaffolding?
You've taken out backgrounds. You have to stop. Why did they go to the extent to do this? You have to ask the question.
They.
And if you see hundreds of photos that are done this way, you have to realize this was an industrial scale effort to create a narrative. Exquisite masonry buildings were built in 1 or 2 years. These take time. I mean, you put 1 or 2 years just into the planning.
Yeah, well, all of the planning is already done by and large. By the time they're like starting the construction process, like it's all finished. So I don't like know what he's even trying to get at here.
Well, before that, you have the engineering piece. You have the design. You're not just getting a bunch of artists and builders together and knocking these things out. There's architects involved, so there's the design. Then there's the engineering of it. all of this takes time.
Yeah, building difficult. But you know that Jehovah's Witnesses, being an ex-Jehovah's Witness myself, they do something called quick builds where they have like blueprints that they deliver to a congregation, like standard blueprints that all kingdom halls are built with. They've had architects like construct them over the years. And so they'll deliver them to like the congregation elders. The elders will purchase a piece of property, maybe have a piece of property donated, and they'll get all of the building supplies together, all of the lumber that they're going to need, all of the PVC pipes, all of the everything, the paint even, all of it, sheetrock and everything, all brought to the site in a couple of large semis or like 18-wheelers. And it gets dropped off on a Friday morning. 150 people, the whole congregation, arrive Friday morning and start building. And by Monday, they're putting up the wallpaper. Everything is all wired, all the electricity, all the plumbing is run. It's all done. You can construct a building really, really quickly if you have all of the heavy lifting completed, like planning and material acquisition and everything. And cities are famously, historically, really good at like constructing large buildings, like impressive buildings. Like New York City's skyline is absolutely incredible. And it's wild to me that this is the unbelievable part about society. Really, this is the thing? This is the hill you die on? What about the internet? Why are they attacking architecture rather than the internet? Is it because they were here to witness the birth of the internet?
These buildings are years in the making. And especially when you're crafting every single corner of it, like what we're seeing.
What would the payoff be in covering up our ancient origins? Same with flat earth. So down. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. What's the payoff? Why are people doing? What's the motivation here? There is none. These people just want to find conspiracies anywhere that they can.
Every doorknob, every cornice over a window is celebrated. And this is why the architecture is so beautiful. It's an architecture of celebration.
Celebration? Like what? Doorknobs celebrated? I don't understand. Grand Central was one of 4 subway stops. This is the very first subway stop, basically. When they were constructing the train station, the subway system, I think it was Grand Central was one, 42nd Street was another, and then there was one in Harlem, and then Lower Manhattan. I don't remember exactly which ones, but it was the first, one of the first. Took them, it was in the early 1900s, I think 1902, 1898 to 1902 or 1904. It took them like 4 to 8 years to build, basically, and, you know, it's just like an incredible testament to the ingenuity of man, if you will. Truly amazing. But not alien, and not like stolen from an older generation or whatever the hell. Where are these people's heads?
You have to ask yourself this.
Okay.
Why is there such a lack of construction photos from the inside of the buildings?
There are plenty of pictures of construction inside buildings. What do you mean? Like people putting up sheetrock and stuff? Is that what he means? There's a point at which it becomes inside the building. Like you build out, when you're building like a house, you build out the framing, right? You put up the studs basically, and there is no inside or outside because you've just got like wooden beams spaced out by like 1.5 feet each, right? And then you put up wait, what's the next step? Do you put up the outside? I think maybe you put out plywood on the outside of the house, and then you stick like fiberglass insulation in, and then you put up the sheetrock inside. So at what point does it become inside? Is it when you put up the studs? Is it when you put up the plywood? There are a billion pictures of building like, does he think that houses are not built? Like, I don't understand. What is his point?
The outside.
Oh, and also pictures were uncommon back then in the first place. I mean, obviously they existed, but They're really low quality and rare and expensive and everything.
It's incredible. But the inside is built like a palace. There's such a lack of photos from the inside of these buildings.
No, there isn't. I simply disagree, good sir.
And they're incredible. When you had the Kleksinski building in Chicago that took 14 years, and then you come back and you look at the one before that, the Federal building, built in 7 years. How is that possible? They're not gonna be able to bring these things all the way up to the top, get these people that have no training and actually
People had no training?
create this amazing thing that lasts forever. In a timeline where they tell you they were riding around on horses and wagons, where this should not be accepted. It's just not gonna happen in the amount of time that they're telling us.
We know people cook the books in other areas.
We do? Who cooked books? In what areas? What is he talking about?
We know people have manipulated photos for the sake of deceiving people, just like NASA does. This isn't a new thing.
NASA does
It's
it.
an old thing, but it's still being done today. You find photo manipulation. Now, CGI, the techniques have developed substantially. But back then, they thought they were at the cutting edge. They didn't think that they would be caught on to.
Or maybe
Okay.
they didn't care. Like, by the time they figure this shit out, who cares? We'll be long gone, and who cares?
They have
And who cares?
their stories. Everything has something to explain it within the last 100 to 200 years.
I even called the Illinois State Archives building, and they didn't have information on their own courthouse that's located within 1 mile of itself.
Ooh, okay. Wow, that's super untrustworthy then, isn't it? You called one random organization and they didn't have information on this thing? You telling me that people don't just keep that shit on tap, that they got to look this up? Super suspicious.
Illinois State Archives, how may I help you?
Hey, I was just transferred to you because I was looking at the Supreme Court when it was built, and I was just trying to find records on it, and it said it was saying on their website it was saying that it was built in a year. So I was just trying to figure out if that was true or not.
I would have you tried contacting the Supreme Court?
Yeah, and they sent me over to you guys.
Look, the information he's looking for here. Hang on. What was it he's specifically? Let's see. Oh, My Lunch Break is the dude's YouTube channel. Dude, this guy had a shirt earlier that said My Lunch Break in a little YouTube thing. I was like, what the hell does My Lunch Break mean? Now I'm realizing it's his YouTube channel. I don't even have a shirt with my logo on it. Is that a little bit what's the term I'm looking for here? Pompous? Tacky? I don't know. Oh, wow. 119,000 subbies. That's bigger than I expected, actually. I recap my daily life on my lunch break, talk about historical interests. Private investigator of history, he says. Private investigator of history. Okay, wow. Recap my daily life on my lunch break. It's actually an interesting idea for a YouTube channel name or whatever. And they're short. They're lunch break length videos. I'd like to shorten up my videos too. I want to keep them under 30 minutes, ideally. 20 would be better. Ancient Detroit, Ancient Budapest, Old World Richmond, Shiva's construction. I'd like to find something about New York City because I know a lot of historical information about New York City. A little season in New York City. Finding the Old World caves. Your lunch break rights as an employee under Section 126. What's this? I just want to glance at this real quick. We're not going to watch much of it. Wait, he's got most replayed sections. Let's see.
William Royal, C3SCOB, Ancient Tallow, Jeffrey Temple, Lil Miss, Lisa Boutwell, Luis Capice, SoniaDane.com, Thad Luop, James.
Okay, wow. Thank you for the names.
Allowed a lot. Really quick, just want to show you all. Modern Day Donkeys Incorporated. Lots of distractions, we are told. Much less effort. Lots of evolving and lots of advancing. No. Look at those wheels high in the air. It's so cool that we can use that cage on the ground and up in the air. It's so amazing. 2000.
I don't understand. Is he getting to a point with this? Is he saying it's stupid to have a cage with wheels on it in the air?
24 is just incredible. And throughout New York City, we can see the previous civilization's buildings, hiding behind our ridiculous, pathetic scaffolding.
This is such a niche conspiracy theory, right? It's wild to me that people actually buy this nonsense.
This needs to be addressed. We have these $5 plastic poles next to this detailed stone building, and it's...
Those aren't plastic poles. That's scaffolding. That means they're constructing something up above. They take this stuff down and put it up in random places all over New York City. Like, and sometimes they make it permanent. It's for like, so, you know, you have to work on a building a certain number of times every so many years to make sure that bricks aren't going to like fall off of it or anything. And if you don't do that, you need to put up scaffolding to protect the public from the possibility that bricks might fall on their heads, for example. So lazy companies will put up scaffolding like this, just metal poles and a little roof to protect the public, make sure bricks don't fall on them. That's what's happening here.
It's like this throughout the whole city. A clear shot, clear proof that we are going...
Clear proof of what?
These $5 plastic poles next to this detailed stone building. And it's like this throughout the whole city. A clear shot, clear proof that we are going backwards. There's no advancing going on.
Dude, this is a joke. I've got to take this down. This is nuts. My lunch break, New York City. What's it called? A Little Season in New York City. And this is at 18. Scaffolding proves NYC was built by aliens? ? I don't even think he's saying it's aliens that built it. I think he's saying that it was just a previous civilization and that this previous civilization is way more advanced than us. And it's like, well, so humans did build it then. Is he saying like we lost our ability to, or we forgot how to build things and then we relearned, or what's the point?
Clear proof that we are going backwards. There's no advancing going on. There is zero evolving. As I've said before, we are as advanced as we're allowed to be. The roof of these things...
As we're allowed to be? So God told us we can't be more advanced?
Look like something you'd just go put on the top of your hut.
That's correct, yes. Those aren't permanent buildings. That's scaffolding to protect people's heads while they're constructing something. That's as simple, it's as simple as that.
After you've crashed on a deserted island and needed to use the washed up garbage that you found coming up onto the beach. Can you believe this is our civilization's choice?
So does he think we just like don't build things? Has he never been to a construction site and watched this stuff go up? It feels like he's saying that like we don't know how to build better things or construct things in a more elaborate, better way, right?
New York City, get it together. This is horrible. Then you have modern construction, the basic box style, which hurts your eyes just looking at it. And then we have the Hearst.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Step back one more time.
Box.
These are projects. That's probably in Upper Manhattan and Harlem area. And they are cheap and thrown together quickly and kind of garbage, honestly. There are a billion different architecture styles in New York City, though. Like, you can see the architecture styles change as you go from street to street, too. Like, moving from 95th Street on the east side to 96th, 97, 98th Street, you can see the architecture just change completely. It's really wild. You can see it change from like, I don't know, just like a modern normal architecture to an old Spanish style or Italian or Chinese or whatever. Like there are a billion different architecture styles here in New York City. And we have like evidence of how that stuff got there. So he's talking about Harlem and the projects, okay?
It's horrible. Then you have modern construction, the basic box style, which hurts your eyes just looking at it. And then we have the Hearst Tower, where you have this castle-type building, and they've attached this modern glass, weird-looking building right
Who is they? I actually know that building. I've been inside of it.
on top of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. There are really weird, interesting building designs and styles in New York City. And the reason is because architects want to test their metal in New York City. METTLE. They want to do new, cool, creative things that stand out. They want to have a really interesting building that draws attention to their skills or their business or their whatever. That's why you have a billion different styles like this and really interesting designs. And that's why the projects are garbage, because nobody gives a shit about the projects.
Clear contrast between our civilization and the previous civilization. Some triangles and some glass versus very detailed stonework. One that will last a few decades and one that will last centuries, if not longer. Now,
okay.
I was going to put this episode out right as we hit 100,000 subscribers, but it ended up taking me a lot longer to complete.
Oh, this is Times Square, Church of Scientology. Yeah. They have a big Scientology building there.
Originally expected. I also wanted to make sure that it was an awesome episode for everyone. So we had two options. It was either we took a few weeks off from having an episode, which is not an option. So really we only had one, because I look forward to every Saturday way too much and hearing all of your comments.
Okay.
Continuing to open the door for more and more people to find this research. So that option was 100% off the table. The other option was to just push this episode back a few weeks. I figured the majority of you would agree. So here we are. It's time to go.
This is Times Square again. This is between Times Square and Grand Central. It's closer to Grand Central. I can tell because of the windows, the way that the windows are lined up there. Grand Central is on 42nd Street. It's just like on a different avenue. So 42nd is on, Times Square is on 42nd Street and Fashion Avenue, I believe, which is 7th Avenue. As you go toward the East River, you're counting down. So York Avenue is right on the East River, close to like Brooklyn and Queens. And then you got 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue, then I think Lexington Avenue. And then there's 4th. The 5th Avenue is right where Central Park is. 6th and 7th are where Central Park would be. So you only go to those in like Midtown near Times Square and Grand Central. 7th is 6th and 7th are Fashion Avenue and Avenue of the Americas. I don't remember which is which. But anyway, I think this is closer to 6th Avenue.
Go even deeper into this. When we take a look into the St. Patrick's Cathedral, where they tell us that Archbishop Hughes laid
I've been there.
The cornerstone in front of 100,000 subscribers. Spectators. Not 99,000, not 101.
Yeah, we get it. You got 100,000 subbies. Okay, go on.
100,000 on the dot, near the intersection of 5th Avenue.
Dude, are you kidding me? He's criticizing the fact that the official history says there were 100,000 spectators. Like they didn't take an exact, accurate count of how many people were walking by on the streets. Are you shitting me with this? Of course they didn't take an accurate count. I went to the Pride Parade recently, New York City Pride Parade, and I walked through it. And it went from, I think, 29th Street to 14th. And then it went around a couple of avenues. And then it went right back up to like 18th or something. It was like 2 miles or something like that. And there were people lined up all the way down. And I don't know how many people there were. Millions, maybe? I don't know. How many people can fit in like 2 miles of sidewalk in New York City? A lot, right? So they probably estimated based on how many people were packed into the crowds on how many avenues, I would assume. And crowd estimations are always round numbers, pretty much.
Avenue and 50th Street, though the precise location will forever be a mystery and remains unclear.
Laid the cornerstone in front of 100,000 spectators near the intersection of 5th and 50th, though the precise location remains unclear. Yeah, of course. Like, who knows which specific brick was laid first? This is like 100 years ago or something, right? 1858, so 150 years ago or more. Why is this surprising to him? I don't understand. This is nuts, dude. I had no idea that this weird little, God, what's the word I'm looking for? This weird little subset of conspiracy theory existed. This is so fascinating to me. Dude, I'm missing my assess material. Wow, that sucks.
So let me get this straight. 100,000 people were there, yet nobody can remember where this was. Nobody.
Bro, it was like 150 years ago. People could remember exactly where it was if they were alive. You ever consider the possibility maybe no one thought to ask exactly where it was? Or nobody thought to record it? It's like if you think about modern day diaries, people write in their books, they say, I ate eggs this morning. In 200 years, if chickens are not widespread, how would anybody know it was chicken eggs? Hell, if they're in Australia, how would they know it's chicken eggs and not ostrich eggs, for example, or whatever? You have to have the cultural context to understand this stuff or to make accurate guesses. And even then, you're guessing at what kind of eggs I ate this morning. If I say I eat eggs, you're assuming it's chicken eggs. It's a pretty safe assumption, but it's still an assumption, right? How did this concept escape this guy?
Nobody documented it. Not a single person of the 100,000 remember where the cornerstone was.
I mean, people did document this stuff. It's just not documented to that specific detail.
Nobody knows for the rest of time. This is ridiculous and a total lie, in my opinion.
Are you kidding? Which stone was laid first? And he has no idea. Yeah, no one remembers it because they're all dead, dummy. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, dude. Hungry for eggs now. Yeah, eggs are the shit, man. I love eggs.
Where I believe that the cornerstone on most of these buildings holds valuable items from the previous civilization, where we have
I'm sorry?
Seen this a few times before, but I believe they know this. And this is why they don't want to let us know the truth.
Wait, it holds valuable items? Like what? How does it hold valuable items? Is it like a spirit, an energy, an aura that comes off of it? Or does it have a bunch of gold in it? And if they know about this secretive special item, why don't they go retrieve it? If it's worth more than this gigantic cathedral in the first place, then they could tear it down, right? I don't understand how people get to this point in their heads, and I so desperately want to.
True location of the cornerstone. They go on to tell us more nonsense. Where this cathedral was mostly funded from the parishioners of the churches, who were mainly poor Irish immigrants.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't this gigantic, beautiful cathedral originally. And additionally, maybe it wasn't, it had a whole bunch of parishioners. And in addition to all of that, maybe it was funded by other sources too, not just these poor Irish immigrants. Maybe some of those immigrants weren't destitute. Maybe most of them were, as it says here, mainly poor Irish immigrants, but not all of them were. You ever knock that one around? Why is he even creating this conspiracy theory where there doesn't need to be one? This is just wild to me.